All right, here we are with session 2 on our introduction to factoring. We're going to continue with some more examples of factoring. And these polynomials that we factor, this is our fourth example. These polynomials that we factor, of course, are going to get more complicated and longer. Right now we're just working with binomials. So remember, our step 1, supposed to find a coefficient, or GCF for the coefficients. And 6 won't go into 27, but 3 will go into both of them. And since 27 doesn't have a variable with it, that means that we're going to need to divide these both by 3 and keep that 3 outside of the parentheses. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, and that a squared stays. And then 27 divided by 3 is 9, and it's positive, so it's plus 9. So, if we want to check this, remember we distribute. 3 times 2a squared gives us 6a squared, and 3 times 9 is positive 27. So we must end up with that same exact polynomial once we check it. So let's continue down with some more examples. Let's give you one to try on your own. Let's do 4y squared minus 24y. Might want to pause it, try this on your own for a moment. When I look at this, I see that 4 can go into both of these, and since they both have a y, that means that I can factor out 4 and a y. So when I divide this by 4y, I get 1 for my coefficient, and y to the second power minus 1 just gives me y. Now I've got a negative here, and negative divided by positive is going to give me negative, and 24 divided by 4 is 6, and y divided by y is 1, and 1 times 6 is just 6. So my final answer should be 4y times y minus 6. Once again, we will check it by distributing. 4y times y gives us 4y squared, and 4 times negative 6 gives us negative 24, and the y just comes along for the right because there's nothing for it to multiply by. So let's move on to another example. What if we have the number in front larger than the second number? Well, there's a couple of different things going on with this example. One, of course, is that this number in front's larger, and these two have different variables. Now, since they both have d for a variable, I can pull a d out, and I still need to look at what will go into both of these numbers evenly. 3 is our obvious answer here. So since I can pull 3 out, and they both have a d, I can factor out 3d. So when I divide both of those by 3d, well, 21 divided by 3 is 7. Those two cross out, and it leaves with just c. Now this is negative, so 3 divided by 3 is 1, d divided by d is 1, so then I'm just minus 1. And of course, for me to be able to check it, I distribute. 3 times 7 is 21. And remember, we put these alphabetical, CD, and 3d times negative 1 just gives us negative 3d. Now, at any time, if I'm going too quickly for you, just pause it. You can work it out yourself. That's kind of the better thing about this. You don't have to keep up with me if I'm going too fast. Okay, so let's get a little bit more complicated. Let's say we've got 15a squared b minus 30ab. Now, the first thing we see is, 15 can go into both of these. So I know I'm going to factor out 15. And since they both have ab, then I'm going to factor out ab also. So I'm basically dividing this by 15ab. Well, that means that 15 divided by 15 is 1. A squared divided by A just leaves A, and B over B is gone. So the first term is just a. So now I've got negative 30. Don't forget that middle sign, negative 30 divided by 15 gives me negative 2. And AB divided by AB is 1. So it's just like that. So then to check this, I need to distribute. And I've ran out of room over here, so I'll do it underneath. 15AB times A gives me 15A squared B. And of course, if I multiply this times negative 2, I get negative 30AB. All right. So let's give you one to try on your own. Let's look at 16BC squared plus 24BC. And remember, if you want to try these on your own before you see me do them, then just pause your video. So I'm looking at what can go into both of these evenly. And 16 can't go into 24, but the next smallest number that goes into both of these is 8. 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24. So I know I'm going to be factoring out 8. And they both have a BC, so I'm going to also factor out BC. So I'm basically dividing these two by 8BC. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. B divided by B, that means they cross each other out. C squared divided by C leaves us with C. 24 divided by 8, it's positive, so this is positive 3. And the BC makes 1, so it's gone. And once again, we can check by distributing to each of these terms. And I do get 16BC squared plus 24BC. All right, so I'm going to give you roughly about 6 to 8 problems to complete on Schoology, and then we will continue this the next day, and the problems will be a little bit more intricate. Remember, if you have any questions, I will set up a time that you can Zoom with me as algebra students, and I can do some live examples if needed. Or if you just have some questions, I can answer those questions also. Remember, check back with Schoology for any messages from me. I'll post those Zoom times when I will be available. And that would be the best time to ask questions. If you need to email, just remember, there's about 140 of you and one of me, so it might take a little bit to get back to you.